up, everybody? We are live. Let's freaking go. Josh Hokit just crashed out on DC. Daniel Cormier, the former, what is he, two-time UFC world champion, multiple-time UFC world champion. He won the light heavyweight title and the heavyweight title. And Josh Hokit just went in on him and called him out to a fight. Man, we're going to get into all that. Josh Hokit is just burning every single bridge possible, and he's letting the fire of the flames light his way. Man, he does not give a flying. So Josh Hokit is making news again, guys. He just called out Michelle Obama. Now he's on to DC. So he is making the rounds, and anybody can get it. He is going in on everybody. Plus, we got some updates to the UFC schedule coming out. Obviously, Max Holloway and Conor McGregor are fighting, but they just dropped some new announcements. We're going to get into all those. We're going to go through those, pick some fights together. And, man, I want to know what you guys think about this crash out. So I'm going to check the chat real quick. Let me make sure that we are actually live. And my name is King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I coach and I train at the best gym on the planet, Extreme Couture. My teammate Manel Kopp just won. So shout out to Manel. He KO'd, what was the dude's name? Horiguchi. So he uppercutted him from Turtle, bopped his head back like a Pez dispenser, and he's probably next for the title shot, guys. So let's hope they skip over Pantoja so my teammate can get a title shot against Joshua Van. We got John Hogan in the chat. What's up, everyone? What's up, John? Good to see you in the chat, my guy. All right, I'm posting this real quick. Get your Real One shirts at the link, but only if you're a real one, because I don't want any weenies rocking the merch. Seriously, if you're a fucking dweeble head, don't even get it. And tell your coach to grow their gym at studiomillions.com, guys. If you do not have notifications on, turn notifications on, because I go live at random ass times. I'm planning on continuing to go live for the foreseeable future, but I also kind of think maybe it's time to switch to 6 times a day. Take the other day, maybe video edit on that day, and then have scheduled video so that there's more content actually coming out. Anyways, I'm figuring that out right now. And I also got this software working, so the video drops are going to be coming like daily in addition to the live. So make sure you're subscribed. So anyways, man, let's get right into it. I got the exact quote right here. DC went on a YouTube video on DC's YouTube channel, and he's been doing some interesting things lately. DC has. So he said that his account got hacked, and that's why he had a post come from his account that said Eric Trump was asking him for insider gambling advice, which DC works with the UFC. That would be accusing the president's son of a very serious crime. I don't believe DC would do that and post that publicly. DC says his account got hacked. And in addition to that, that would also mean that somebody created those screenshots. There's a lot going on, right? So that story, everybody's picking apart DC's story. They're saying it doesn't make sense. They're like, dude, what are you talking about? AI and screenshots and hacked, and you deleted it, but somebody else posted it, but you didn't change your password, and then you changed your password, then you got locked out of your account. And there's a lot of stuff that people are questioning about that story. Now, here's the thing. What I believe happened before we get into the Michelle Obama DC Josh Hokit fucking drama, I believe that DC, his account got hacked by someone who created a fake screenshot of Eric Trump asking for gambling advice from DC. They posted the fake screenshot to DC's account. I don't believe those DMs actually ever took place between Eric Trump and DC. I believe it's all somebody trying to throw shade at the UFC White House card. That's what I believe. The internet, they don't agree with my take, guys. They disagree with me. They say, man, the story doesn't add up. What do you mean? He doesn't know that he DM'd Eric Trump. He doesn't remember that. Why would he screenshot something and then post it? Why, like, that? The internet's doing the internet thing. So anyway, Ian Carroll went in, and Ian Carroll is a big conspiracy guy. And he is on the side of Sean Strickland in the current political climate, let's say. And Ian Carroll went in on DC, but Ian Carroll doesn't even understand what he's talking about, because a lot of the points that Ian Carroll made were like, well, DC, if it came from your account, then that means you were aware of it. Dude, bro, listen. If you are on Twitter and your job is Twitter, like I can barely run a YouTube channel. I strangle people. I bounce my fists off people's heads. I bounce their heads off the canvas. I'm literally talking into an iPhone. You get what I'm saying? So for Ian Carroll to assume that DC is as technically savvy as he is, it's like, bro, you're assuming a lot. I would imagine that DC has access to his Twitter. I would imagine other people, including probably his manager, his assistant, maybe his wife, all have access as well. I would then imagine DC oftentimes doesn't actually write it out. He probably just says stuff and somebody posts it. In addition to that, the UFC may have access because the UFC has people. So DC's probably got levels of shit happening on his X that he's not even aware of. Furthermore, when you're going to a UFC event, they have like a dedicated social media person who can get you a blue check mark if you're cornering, whatever, right? They hook you up. Also, this person has a rep at Twitter X who, if your account gets hacked, the UFC will handle it for you. DC's not out here trying to go back and forth. He's going to talk to the rep. So Ian Carroll's making all this assumption about DC, like DC is a normal person who, or even not even a normal person, but a person whose job is to tweet, like Ian Carroll's is. Ian is a content creator. So Ian's going in on DC, making a lot of assumptions. That gets into the live that I did the other day about oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. So it's good to look for blind spots about things that might be happening. Like, why would you assume that he's as Twitter savvy as you are? Anyway, DC went on and DC started talking about Josh Hokit. And DC was saying that it was uncalled for, it was nasty. DC didn't like it at all. DC stood up for Michelle Obama. And so now we thought temperatures were going to cool down. No, it's just getting started. Josh Hokit sees this video of DC saying it's unnecessary and like he doesn't like it. He said it's lame as fuck. Josh Hokit clapped back. Josh Hokit crashed out on Twitter. He said, I've been nothing but nice to this fat cow pig. I'm not here for unity. In reality, there will never be unity. This is Josh Hokit talking. I come to divide people's faces. If you don't like it, he's talking to DC and everybody else, I would imagine, then come do something about it. So again, I've been nothing but nice to this fat cow pig. I'm not here for unity. In reality, there will never be unity. I come to divide people's faces. If you don't like it, then come do something about it, DC. You know what I mean? He's throwing fucking shots at DC, man. Dude, so those are fighting words. And here's the craziest part. DC's retired. But DC's still a fighter. You can't just talk to DC like that. DC will see you in the hallway and come up and confront you. So Josh Hokit is going to get confronted at some point. If they don't squash it before then, so Josh is not making any friends in the business. Josh is going in on everybody. But I believe that he is getting a lot of very passionate fans who have a very specific way of thinking. So if that's the audience that Josh is targeting and he's willing to alienate everybody else, he's going to have a fucking brutally loyal fan base. So if that's Josh's goal, shout out to Josh, man, because he's fucking doing it. Bro, everybody loves DC. Now you're going at DC, dude. All right, I'm here for it. Fuck it. I want to see him fight in the fucking hallway. That's how I get down. All right, we got Nuru 77. Hey, fight freaks. What's up? What's up, bro? Yeah, also, we got some big fights coming up. So we got Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. We'll talk about that in a minute. Dude, I didn't know that they were doing Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman and what this means for the division. Okay, so to my understanding, Kamaru Usman fighting at 185 means he's trying to make a play to go to 185 and fight for the belt potentially. They're probably looking at it like we need DDP to get a win because then DDP is relevant in the division. Even though DDP is the former champion and he's beat Sean Strickland, it would look good if he fought somebody other than just Strickland and Hamzat. So they're probably thinking, hey, if we have DDP versus Kamaru Usman, DDP gets the rub, he gets a big name, he gets a dub. That's probably what they're thinking. And if Kamaru Usman somehow pulls out the victory, well, then we have a rematch built in because Kamaru Usman has a win over Sean Strickland at 170. So now it's starting to heat up. Also, they're doing Magomed Ankalaev versus Khalil Roundtree. Both fighters have a common opponent in Alex Pereira, right? So that's going to be interesting. Man, oh, fuck, dude. I know Khalil personally, so I'm biased. I'm going to go with, fuck, dude. I'm going to let my bias take over, guys. Khalil, fuck, dude. All right. On paper, I think Ankalaev is probably the favorite of that fight. I would imagine Ankalaev is the betting favorite, but my boy Khalil Roundtree is going to beat him up. And me and Khalil aren't close or anything. I trained with him a few times, grappled him and shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, shout out to Khalil. Hope you get the dub, my guy. Rooting for you, bro. All right. We got Arpon, the Don in the chat. Let's go. Real ones are live. Yeah, bro. The real ones in the building. Oh shit, you're at work, but you got a few minutes. Bro, you know what I mean? That's how we do it, bro. You know, just fucking walk around with the phone like this, like act like you're not looking at it. We got HHH custom knives in the building. Hammer fist like that button. Real one. Let's go. Yeah, guys. Hey, for the algo, man. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's how we're gonna do it. Okay. Like the video if you like the video. But beyond that, let's do this. If you believe in dragons, subscribe. If you, what else could we do? If you believe in aliens, subscribe. If you think aliens are a hoax, do not subscribe. If you think dragons never existed, don't subscribe. How else can we do it? How can we separate people? If you believe in free speech, subscribe. If you believe in limiting people's speech and censoring people, don't subscribe. So if you either you agree or disagree with Strickland, but you believe he has a right to say what the fuck he wants to say because this is America, then subscribe. If you want to silence Strickland because you don't agree with him particularly, then you should not subscribe to the channel. So that's kind of how we're dividing the lines, right? Like how to know if you're a real one or not. If you subscribe to this channel, right, only do it if you agree with the previous statements. And if you disagree, then you shouldn't be here anyways. Let's freaking go. You got me on dragons and aliens. So you agree that dragons and aliens are real or you disagree? So I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. All right. DC is one-dimensional and wrong. Half UFC fans probably liked or agree with Hokit's Obama comment. Yeah, man. And so the coldest part is this. Because I agree with you that almost every single person that I encounter in the MMA world either does not support Obama's presidency in that regard, or they go so far as to believe the theory about his wife. So a lot of people are in alignment with what Hokit was saying. You know what I mean? A lot of people. So I believe he got a lot of loyal people around him now. And so I think that DC is out of the political atmosphere to the point that DC doesn't realize that that's like a very popular thought about Obama's wife. That Hokit's not just making shit up out of nowhere. He's going along with a current theory. And the current theory gets pretty fucking crazy. If you guys have ever gone down that rabbit hole, which I've tried to avoid, and I had a dear friend who was always on me about it. Like, bro, no, dude, no, bro, you ever seen her play basketball, bro? She could finger roll. You know what I mean, dude? She's balling like that. There's fuck, dude. Maybe I'll post an Instagram reel of one of my buddies talking about it because he actually was on a podcast talking about it. It got it went viral, and it's a funny ass reel. I don't agree with what he's saying, but it's funny as fuck, and I think we should be able to like critique public figures. I think it's healthy to get critiqued. I think it's healthy for people to almost pick on each other, right? People said wild shit. I remember after my first pro fight, I won. I flew out there. The dude that was trying to manage me, he got nervous on the plane, so he popped some prescription medications that he had a legal prescription for. to make himself less nervous. They were lower tabs. I don't know if that's what they're for. I guess he had back pain too or something. Anyways, he was popping something he had a prescription medication for. And then he starts itching and sweating, and then he turns the recirculated air on above us. Anyway, I get fucking pneumonia. You know what I mean? So I went out there, this fight, I thought I could fight at 170 pounds. I was like, dude, 170, no problem. I actually should be a 145er. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I learned that later and partially in this fight. But we're going out there for my pro debut. It's at a forum that is where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. There's like 12,000 people there. And I showed up to Tampa, Florida at 182 pounds. I didn't cut any weight. I was so sick with pneumonia that I just sweat from a fever. And I lost 12 fucking pounds of sweating from a fever. Anyway, I go out there. I'm like lightheaded, whatever, right? Like, I don't feel well. My corner's telling me not to go fight, but my uncle's there. And every fucking 5 minutes on the overhead announcer in front of tens of thousands of people, they're going, and in his pro debut coming up in the co-main event, Hulk Hogan's nephew. Then it's like, later tonight, Hulk Hogan's nephew makes his pro debut. Then it's, Hulk Hogan is in attendance to watch his nephew make his pro debut, guys. Every 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to have my motherfucking uncle pull up and me not fight. I'm fighting, bro. This dude's going to have to fucking kill me. And he almost did. Like, he picked me up over his head. And the commission, before I fought, they listened to my lungs and they were like, dude, are you sick? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, we hear fluid in your lungs and your temperature is 99, which we can let you fight with. But if you have had a fever and you fight with a fever, you are at risk of death. You cannot fight with a fever. Anyway, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to let my uncle down, right? So I'm going out there. I'm fighting under dire circumstances that nobody in the crowd knows or cares about. I'm fighting a local guy. So the promoter put me in with a local Floridian while my uncle is there. You would think they would promote me as, hey, this superstar from Florida is here to see his nephew. We're going to give him some guy from out of town to fight. And they didn't do that. So I'm out here. I'm getting punched and beat on and blah, 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 all this stuff, right? And it's like really, really, really fucking brutal, you know? And I get booed by the whole place. And yeah, it's just, I forget where the fuck I was going with that story. It had something to do with Obama's wife, right? Where were we at, guys? I fucking spaced out. You know what it is? I haven't eaten. I'm trying to make weight. I want my manager to give me a short notice fight. So I'm like literally starving right now, because I'm not saying that that's how you should make weight, but it's just kind of how I make weight. So yeah, okay. Yes, real, obviously. Dragons and aliens are real. I agree. 100%. Plus, if you look at um, the Chinese New Year, each year has a year with a real animal. And they are a society that's been around for thousands of years. They're one of the oldest civilizations on planet Earth. And the only animal that is not real is a dragon. And it's like, nah, bro, the dragon's real. That's the coolest part about the Chinese, I guess you would call it Chinese zodiac. I'm not sure what you would call it, but about the Chinese New Year's, they have like the year of the monkey, the year of the dragon, you know. And why would they have a dragon if it wasn't a real animal and all the other animals are real? Plus, almost every major civilization throughout history has depictions of dragons, and then all of a sudden we're getting told there's no such thing as dragons. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. And the aliens are 100% real. I'm not saying that they're necessarily humanoid visitors from outer space, although they might be. You know, I'm saying that there's something happening here. You know that song? There's something happening here. Right. So anyway, yeah, I feel like DC uh is speaking about a subject based on his level of information. He's probably feeling like oh hey, why would he make up some crazy statement? He has no idea that like half the fucking country either has heard that statement, that theory, or believes it. and like really believes it. And that also gets you down some wild rabbit holes. But before we get into that and we start talking about are we living on a globe? You know what I mean? Let's go down these fights real quick. All right, who else we got? We got D-Rod fighting. We got Makhachev versus Ian Machado Gary. Dude, can Ian Machado Gary win? Because here's the thing. I don't really like Ian Gary as like if I watched a video of him, I wouldn't be like, oh, dude, I'm gonna go kick it with that guy. I bet you we'd get along in person. I'd be like, oh, fuck, bro. Me and that guy would not get along. We would probably dislike each other at the gym and end up scrapping. But yeah, I'm not a I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen, I'm not a big fan of him at all. But here's the thing. You can't let that get in the way of what's gonna happen technically and tactically. Now, can he beat Islam? There's a lot of hype on Islam. But here's the thing, Islam's lost before. So he's not quite invincible. And Islam has beat Volkanovski in a close fight, and Volkanovski was a 45er coming up. Ian Gary's a bigger guy. Islam's coming up from 55, and although Islam's like a 70-pounder essentially, because he was a very big 55er, still, man, at some point you're going to get deeper and deeper in the division where the guys are getting bigger and bigger, and they're more like, hey, we're big for the weight class too, bro. You're not the only weight bully here. We're going to bully you back. And so if Ian Gary, who is very easy to pick against because of his lifestyle, living with his chick's ex-husband or whatever the fuck weird shit he's into. That, hey, that's what I'm saying with free speech. Let the dude do what he wants. If he wants to go, whatever they're up to, and I don't know that they're up to anything. Maybe it's totally normal, right? But he could be able to do it, right? But like, I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to think he's cool. I don't have to pretend, right? So that's what I'm saying about the subscribe button. If you fuck with free speech, but you also don't like want people to project their values onto you and you have to agree to them, like he's allowed to go do that, and we're allowed to disagree with that. And everybody's chill, everybody's cool, right? So as dislikable as I find him to be, uh, he is a talented fighter, and he has beat some people who I did not think he was going to beat. So I think that Ian Gary is a live fucking dog in that fight. I know. No one wants to hear it. They don't want to hear him talk about feminism and fucking sitting in the chair in the room and all that. You know what I mean? Or whatever fucking he's calling out Strickland's views are disgusting. His views about women are disgusting. Bro, shut the fuck up, dog. You know what I mean? Shut the absolute fuck up, bro. But he's allowed to say it, right? Because we believe in free speech, right? So as fucking beta male as his behavior may seem, the dude can fucking fight, bro. He can scrap. I think he has a chance at beating Islam. I know it's controversial. I know people don't want to hear it. They want to call him all kinds of names. They want to say that he's in the chair. They want to say all that. But he might win. Ian Gary might fucking beat Islam Makhachev. I know. I'm not supposed to say it out loud. I know. We gotta all hate him. But yeah. I don't know, man. I think Islam's beatable. I think he's fucking beatable, guys. And here's the craziest part. So I have trained a lot with a UFC veteran. His name is Mads Burnell. And Mads Burnell, I believe, got his black belt in like 3.5 years. And people were like, that's impossible. Except Mads went on to win the IBJJF Europeans at black belt at like that time frame of training. So he had trained like 3.5, 4 years, and he won the black belt division. So Mads is fucking really good on the ground, and he's trained with Islam. Now, you would think that Mads would say, I'm the fucking best dude he's ever grappled in his life. He didn't say that. He said Islam is. He said Islam is unreal. He said Islam. So when I take somebody like an extreme couture legend like Mads Burnell, his word saying Islam's that good, well, then Islam's fucking good. So in that regard, that brings me back to reality a little bit. And as crazy as I would be like, dude, Ian Gary, right? I want to predict Ian Gary. I would love to predict Ian Gary on this channel, and then Ian win, and then me go, I told you so, guys. But because I have spoken to Mads about Islam's grappling, Mads speaks very, very highly of it, and Mads is a bad motherfucker. So, hey, you know, I mean, the dude won Europeans after training 3.5 years, so he's quite good. And he speaks highly of Islam and says Islam's the real motherfucking deal. So, anyway, Islam is minus, what is that, 300, Gary 350. Ain't no way little Machado wins. Bro, what if he does, though? Dude, and here's the point. Here's what I'm saying. How fucking insufferable will he be? In his interviews and his fucking his attitude. Just for a certain type of person, they probably rock with that. Luke Thomas probably rocks with that. Ariel Helwani probably rocks with that. They probably think that's really cool that he's, you know, doing all that shit that he's doing in his personal life. They probably like that. Right? They probably are offended by Strickland's words. Oh my gosh, his words. Strickland said words, guys. Oh my gosh. Let's clutch our pearls. Let's clutch our pearls. Oh my gosh, let's go watch Ian Gary try and shame him. Ian Gary's going to shame Strickland. Like, come on, bro. Anyway, dude, can you imagine? This is what, okay. Okay, guys, can we law of attraction this into existence? Ian Machado Gary. Even though we don't want him to. It's for the plot. The plot thickens. Ian Machado, I know. I'm saying just for the short term, Ian Machado Gary wins. Okay, I don't want him to win, but let's pretend he wins. And then he calls out a super fight. He goes, I just beat the number one pound for pound Islam Makhachev, and I want the number one shit talker, Sean Strickland. I'm going to show you there's a better way of being a man, and you need to be quiet, and you need to do what women tell you to do, and you need to listen to their husbands, and you need to sit in the chair. And Sean, you're a big meanie, and you should be shamed, and you should be shamed for what you're saying. And he calls out Sean Strickland, and we get Ian Gary versus Sean Strickland super fight at 185 pounds. You know what I mean? All right, that's never going to happen. But we can have fun, right? All right. If Machado wins, all of masculinity loses. Yeah, Ian's not going to win, bro. I'm just talking shit. I'm just bored. You know what I mean? I'm bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored. No, so Ian is not going to win. Let's be real. Islam is going to overhand him into a single leg, take him down, foot sweep him. And probably Ian will attempt to wrestle up and get himself darsed. That's the most likely scenario, right? So is there an unlikely scenario that could happen? Maybe, but the most likely scenario is body lock or a single leg into a body lock, into a foot sweep, into a wrestling exchange, into a front headlock, into a darce choke. That's my actual prediction. You guys heard it here first. I know, shocking. Islam's going to win by wrestling and darsing. Oh my gosh, shocking pick. Shocking pick. I wish I could pick Ian just for the fucking controversy of it, but I can't. He's fucked. So who else in here? Khalil Roundtree. Yeah, I'm just picking him because I'm biased, straight up. You know, I trained with the dude. He was cool to me. So shout out to him. I'm going to pick him over some fucking stranger. And Ankalaev, I believe, is trained at Extreme Couture before, but I've never interacted with him. And if it turns out he's on my team and I don't know it because he goes to the 170 and up practice and probably maybe doesn't speak English, and I go to the 170 and under practice and I do speak English, then I'm changing my fucking pick. All right. At that point, I'm changing my pick. But until then, you know what I mean? I'm going Khalil Roundtree until I meet Ankalaev or find out that he trains with my team. So anyway, let's go. Paredes next after Machado, unless Connor beats Max. I heard they're doing what's it called? What's the fucking dude's name? He's like I think he's like a Cuban dude. He's like a black Hispanic dude. What the fuck is that guy's name? Michael, not he's like 17-0 or 17-1 or some shit, or 10-0 or some shit. Anyway, he's a big ass 170 pounder. Black, maybe black Cuban dude or something like that. Michael something. Fuck, dude. I need some fucking food is what I actually need. I can feel my brain going into that like ketosis state where you're not on a keto diet, but you haven't eaten. And oh, Morales. Yeah, Morales. Yeah, so I heard that they're going to do Paredes versus Morales. That's what I heard. I don't know if there's any truth to that, or if I'm just watching fake news on YouTube. But that would be a crazy ass fight. Morales versus Parates. Let's fucking go. Sign me up. I'm gonna make some popcorn for that motherfucker. All right. Also, they have Patty on the undercard of Connor, right? So I believe that maybe they're trying to have that as some kind of backup situation, not just a backup for the fight, but like if Connor drops out, Patty goes to fight Max Holloway or something like that. But also, in the event that Connor and Patty Pimlet both win, then that's a fight to make. And in the event that they both lose, then that's a fight to make. So I believe that they are strategically placing Patty Pimlet on the card, not only to give him some shine from Connor's audience, but also to potentially book that as a potential matchup. Because what they actually want is options, right? So sometimes when I hear people talking about matchmaking, they're like, oh, they want to do this fight versus that fight. And in a way, they kind of do, but it's more so they want more chess pieces on the board. They want more options. Like Connor could fight Patty. Connor could fight Ian Machado Gary. Patty could fight. Connor could fight Ian Machado Gary. Connor could fight Islam. Connor could fight Justin Gaethje. So now we got all these options for Connor. And then in the event that Connor loses, well, then we could go through the loot. He could fight Ilya. You know what I mean? If Ian Machado Gary loses, he could fight Ian Machado Gary. If Patty, then it's like now he's in a loser's bracket of options. I believe Connor's going to win, so it's not going to be relevant. And I think Patty could do it, man. I've underestimated Patty a lot. Patty's a bad motherfucker, man. He beat my boy Jordan Levitt, who I've trained with a lot. I believe Jordan Levitt could beat him now because Levitt has made some changes to his game and his training. And also he's done a lot of like mindset work because Jordan's super nice. And before some of these fights, Jordan was having like, he's talked about this publicly, so I'm not sharing anything that he hasn't shared. And I cornered Chris Ruffin, who corners Jordan. And one of the things that I worked on with Chris Ruffin was he was asking me, he's like, dude, what do you do when these guys come up to you and they have families and shit? And they ask you, like, oh, hey, man, meet my kids, like, before you fight. And my thought is, it's my job to finish, like, I'm going to say something controversial and just know it's what I do to get ready for a fight mentally. I'm here to kill this guy. It's the ref's job to pull me off him. He can tap at any time and he can take a knee at any time. He has ways out of the fight. I'm here to finish the fight, right? So that's what I'm thinking when I go in there. And I told that to Chris, and Chris relayed that to Jordan Levitt. And I don't believe Jordan's going in there trying to actually kill the dude like that, like get himself into that mindset. But I know they have drilled, like, before every fight, like, what's your job? My job is to finish the fight. What's his job? His job, he can take a knee or tap. What's the ref's job? The ref's job is to pull me off him. What's your job? My job is to finish the fight. And so because of that, we're seeing like a more aggressive version of Jordan. So fuck, dude. Jordan just took an L though, so he's out of contention to rematch Patty right now. But if Patty loses, maybe we could do that rematch. I also know for a while Jordan Levitt wanted to fight Clay Guida, so that'd be an interesting fight too. Shout out to my boy Jordan Levitt, bro. Get that Clay Guida fight or some shit. Let's fucking go, dog. All right, Connor's a long shot after 5 years off, though. Mac's been busy. Yeah, so that is a big issue, is the momentum and the just the recency of it. The like how soon have you fought? So you're still in the vibration of fighting, and then Connor's been out for a long time. I believe Connor's probably going to replicate that in the gym. They're going to, from what I understand, is Connor's bringing in people and paying them to knock him out. So like, hey, there's $1,000 bounty on Connor's head or a $10,000 bounty if you can KO Connor in certain rounds. Not every round has to be like that, but sometimes you have to replicate the fight. And because people could be starstruck or they don't want you to hurt them, you have to then incentivize them to try and get you, or else they're going to be giving you these, I call them false positives. They're rounds where you do well, but it's for a reason that's not accurate. You know, like, let's say I pull a head kick on a guy and he takes me down. And I'm like, bro, you would have been beheaded by the head kick. right? So he got a false positive, thinking he can walk forward with his hands down. But in reality, he's taking a shin across his fucking skull. And I'm victory dancing over his unconscious body, you know? And so there's a lot of false positives that happen in the gym. And so in order to eliminate false positives and go in with a more accurate line or a more accurate assessment of what's actually going to happen, you can pay sparring partners to try and fucking submit you or try and KO you. There's a super high level black belt in town. His name's Ninja Andy Valera, right? And he'll frequently put on his Instagram story like, "Hey man, I got a band. If you could come down to open mat and tap me out, I'll pay $1,000." Because he wants to smoke. He wants to incentivize those rounds. So I've seen people do it in grappling, like Andy does, and then Connor's talking about it in sparring as well, like $1,000 on his head. Can you get him? And then they probably rotate new sparring partners on him, because at that level, he's probably dropping and finishing sparring partners. So there's probably not too many people who are doing let's say he's doing 5 rounds of hard sparring on that day to replicate the fight. He's probably got 5 different dudes or even 10 different dudes where, like, if he drops a guy, they just drag that guy out and throw another guy in, or they'll have somebody coming in every 2.5 minutes. I've seen it go as low as bringing in a new guy every minute. So you're just literally fighting fresh people. And that's a brutal form of a Shark Tank, you know? That's a brutal, brutal form of a Shark Tank. And then you can add on incentives on top of that. And now you're doing 1 minute, fresh guy, everybody's getting paid if they finish you. But like, and now you're getting really fucking good looks at fight replication for the intensity part of it. Because they're not going to be able to, most people won't be able to technically replicate Max, because Max is super high level. But you can bring in a day of intensity, and then you can bring in a day of technique. Like, let's say Max has a long rangey boxing style. You would bring in a long rangey boxer. And then let's say he does a special type of kick. You bring in a kicker who can do that. And then on a different day, you bring in your counter wrestling guy, and all you're doing is shooting on that guy, and that guy's trying to counter wrestle and wall walk and get up off the cage. And, you know, so while you can't necessarily replicate Max in one round, over the course of the camp, you can. So from my understanding, based on what Connor said, that's exactly what Connor's doing. So I'm picking Connor, bro. I know he's a long shot. And that is, so I like to, when I actually believe it, that I always take a stance on picking fights. And then when I can, I like to reinforce my pick when I'm sure. And I'm sure Connor's going to win. I'm sure of it. So anyway, yeah, you know what? Honestly, fuck, dude. I would like Kamaru Usman to beat Dricus Duplessis, but I believe Dricus is going to win. And I want Kamaru to win. I fucking want Kamaru to win. I think that would like be crazy, right? Kamaru's coming back. He's on he almost beat Hamzat in a lot of people's eyes. Not like he beat him, but like the momentum was shifting to where like Hamzat won the rounds, but Hamzat was exhausted. And some people were saying that Kamaru could have won in a 5-round fight against him. And so to see Kamaru come back, beat DDP would be fucking legendary. And he can do it, but fuck, dude, DDP so big and fucking weird. It's hard to train for a guy like that. Shout out to DDP. And at the same time, man, fuck you, DDP. You beat my teammate Strickland, man. Fuck you, bro. But nah, man. I actually, people hate on DDP striking, and so this is a thought experiment we can all do if you like. What is striking? And I've talked about a different concept about this, but like, is it who looks better on pads? Who does the textbook thing? Or is it who's more effective? Because DDP striking is effective, right? So it's the same thing when Conor fought Khabib. Oh, Conor's a better striker. Is he? Because he got dropped by Khabib. So who's actually the better striker? Like, who's the better striker if one guy got dropped and one guy didn't? And that's our only metric to go on is when they fought, right? Like, oh, well, he's better. Well, what are we talking about then? He can write a poem better about striking. Oh, this guy's got a better understanding of striking on paper. Well, dude, in the real world, DDP is putting hands on people. He's kicking people. He's landing shots. He's hard to hit. He's making it his fight. He's dictating the pace. So are those not attributes of good striking, or are we only going to like, oh, he turns it over properly and he has his shoulder here at all times, and like, is that the only metric we're judging it by, or can we judge by like effectiveness maybe? Hypothetically, crazy talk. I know. I got Usman beating Dricus DDP. He got humiliated by Hamzat. Usman took Hamzat deep water. Yeah, so that is you're making a very valid point, because Usman has, one would hope, the wrestling advantage against DDP. Hamzat wrestle fuck DDP, and DDP didn't have answers. My question is this: Hamzat also out wrestled Usman. So the defining factor is Usman's wrestling was not good enough to beat Hamzat in 3 rounds. But is it good enough to get DDP down? Because DDP, at the time he fought Hamzat, didn't seem to have answers as to getting the fuck up off bottom, except in that last round. And that's the actual question. Is like, we all can agree Usman is a better wrestler than DDP, but is he good enough to get DDP down and keep him there? That's the actual metric, because it doesn't matter if you're better at wrestling than somebody. Let's say you would beat them 2-0 in a wrestling match. Well, that doesn't mean that you would pin them for 25 minutes in an MMA fight. So there's a threshold that he has to get by in terms of his wrestling control. And I would be fucking very curious to see if he could do that. Dude, every time I've gone against DDP, DDP just shows me something. And well, to be fair, I was picking Hamzat against DDP, so I guess 2 out of 3 times, and the 2 times were against Strickland, so I was biased there as well. And I believe Strickland won the first fight. So anyway, yeah, maybe you're onto something. I'm gonna go rewatch Usman before I make an official pick, and then I'm gonna watch DDP, and I'm gonna see their tendencies, and then I will come here and I will give you 100% certain pick as to who's gonna win. DDP lost his confidence after Hazmat. That's my hunch. So here's the thing, man. DDP strikes me as a borderline, like, I don't want to say arrogant. Arrogant's not the word, but like a highly confident dude. You know what I mean? Like like a naturally confident guy. And I believe that a lot of his confidence helps him in fights because he doesn't know he's supposed to lose. So if his confidence did get altered by Hamzat, well, then he might be cooked. But if he has that, like, it's borderline delusional confidence, where like he's confident for almost no reason, then he might come back and fight Usman with that confidence and like stuff a couple takedowns and like think like, oh yeah, I'm tight, I'm gonna win. And then that can get you through a tough spot. Whereas if his confidence is broken and his butt touches the mat, he's like, I'm fucked. Well, dude, if you think that, then you're fucked. But if you're like, oh, bro, uh, Usman's not Hamzat, and he pops up and he's like, I'm the world champ. I I'm gonna go beat Strickland, and he beats up Usman and calls out Strickland. Then like that's a different level of confidence, right? Yes, DDP was confident, but he lost that. Oh, never had to come back from a loss in UFC before. Yeah, man. No, you're the valid point. Thinking you're unbeatable is very, very useful in martial arts if you can channel it. Hot take, Ilya beats Justin 9 out of 10 times. Just the one time that they fought was the one where he doesn't beat him. And now, so at the time they were going to fight, Ilya wins that fight 9 times out of 10. Even in the fight, he dropped him, right? Justin was on Joe Rogan today, and Justin was talking about, hey, the biggest mistake Ilya made, which we spoke about on last night's live, was that Ilya went to the ground with me. And this is Justin talking. And he's like, Justin said that he was hurt so bad that if Ilya would have stood up, Justin would have shot and even pulled guard to be on the ground because he had to recover. That's how hurt Justin was. And so for someone of Justin's caliber to publicly admit he would have pulled guard, which is fucking, hey, listen, man, I'm in an MMA gym. I'm a black belt. I've won multiple fights from guard. And I get fucking hazed about it. I'm a pro MMA champion. And they're like, bro, you pulled guard? What the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, bro, Listen, man, it's in my head. I'm like, that's the easiest path to victory for me. This guy can't grapple with me. But because he knows that I've got at the time, like let's say 8 submission wins in my 8 victories, he's like, oh, King David's gonna try and wrestle me. I'm gonna get really good at takedown defense. And I'm like, dude, I'm not doing all that work, bro. I'm gonna kick you and you're gonna fucking shoot on me. And if that doesn't happen, I might just pull guard, bro. Sub you from there. No telling what I might do. I'm unpredictable. The fight after losing the O is tough. Justin made the point now that other fighters know that Ilya is beatable. Yeah. So we also discussed that. Were you on last night's? Because I remember seeing you, I think it might have been 2 nights ago, but last night we discussed that like sometimes the illusion of invincibility allows other guys to just come in and fucking win. So now Ilya's got an uphill battle. While he might be the most technically correct guy in the division, if not the whole fucking UFC, now he's got an uphill battle because he's lost the fucking shield, the force field of invincibility around him. I'm excited to see him come back. I'm rooting for the guy. I like the guy. I mean, honestly, I would have picked him to win. And I believe it. First, I was picking him to win when I was going like logically. But then I just started seeing what he was doing in training. I was seeing how Justin was approaching it. I was seeing how Ilya was approaching it. We were adding in the fact that Justin's the bigger guy. Justin's been in long, brutal fights before. Justin's fought 5 rounds multiple times. Justin's been finished to come back, and we've seen that he's overcome adversity. And then Ilya is like, I'm going to finish him in 2 minutes. And then it's like, yeah, dog, what if you don't? So that's what kind of led me to believe Justin was going to win. And then the more I started paying attention, the more certain I got that Justin would win. And that's how I came to the conclusion that I was going 100% with Justin. Also, dude, White House card. I just felt it in the air. I felt it in the air. Sometimes you got to go with your intuition too. So I had like a lot of logical reasons. And then what really made me certain was that intuition. All right. The fight after losing all the time. Yeah, I was here arguing with you about Poton crying about the back of the headshots. Bro, dude. Yeah. Yeah. And then did you make the point, or was that somebody else that made the point that Pereira, because I think I might have read it in a comment, Pereira finished his like one of his recent fights like that with back of the head strikes as well. So it's like live by the sword, die by the sword. Yeah, but anyway, man. No, dude, New Romance, good having you in here because we can argue, bro. We don't have to agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, I'm not here for all that, right? I'm here for let's get to the fucking truth. You know what I mean? Let's get to the fucking truth. Truth precedes everything. That should actually be the fucking metric by which someone should subscribe or not. Like, hey, do you want the fucking truth? And are you willing to get to the truth together? Well, then subscribe to the channel. And if you want someone to blow fucking sunshine up your ass and fucking tell you what you want to hear, oh, yeah, Strickland's a bad guy because he says mean words. Well, then guess what? It ain't the channel for you. I think I'm going to start saying that from now on. Anyways, cheers, bro. I like your IQ and realness, bro. Hey, real recognize real, my guy. Real recognize real. Anyways, guys, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys, especially Nuru, the star of the chat tonight. Let's freaking go. That's the live. People that hit me up on text message. I got to attend to other business right now. I got shit to do. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. You guys are real ones. Peace out. Good night. Let's freaking go.